It's Julie Billieu with Caring Transitions. I hope you're doing well, and welcome to Julie on the Hot Seat today. I love a good conversation, and today we're diving into something near and dear to my heart, and that's being of service to others. This month, Caring Transitions across the country celebrated Caring for a Cause, and I just thought would be important for us to talk a little bit about that today and why community involvement isn't just a nice thing to do, but it's very important for our older adults. Now we're going to get rolling. If you're tuning in live, drop a comment and let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you've ever volunteered, donated, or lent a helping hand to someone, let us know about that too, because you deserve a pat on the back. And that's what we're talking about today, which is really about showing up for each other. Here's the thing: life is not meant to be done alone. Real connections very important, and whether it's helping a neighbor move a couch, packing meals for families in need, or supporting a cause that speaks to your soul, community is built on the simple act of giving. And let me tell you, when you give, you get so much back in return. Not just in warm fuzzies. No, let's all face it, those are nice some days, aren't they? But in connection, purpose, and a sense of belonging to your community. And let's be real, gratitude plays a huge role in this. When we take the time to recognize the good in our lives, it naturally spills over into our actions. And we want to give back. We want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. And I promise you, the more you practice gratitude, the more you see how much you actually have to give. So today I want to hear from you. What causes are close to your heart? How has community involvement shaped your life? And if you're thinking, I'd love to do more, but I don't know how or where to start, stick around and hopefully we'll find out some good information for you and give you some simple ways to get the impact right where you are. So let's get this conversation started.
Julie, what does community involvement mean to you and how do you like to give back?
So the question was, what does community involvement mean to me, and how do I like to give back? Well, for me, I community involvement means being of service to all people, and for me, community involvement may be helping a neighbor move because we have the resources to do that. Community involvement may be Meals on Wheels. Was we here in Caring Transitions of Winston-Salem, we have a regular Meals on Wheels route that my folks handle because we know how important that service is. And so for me, how do I like to give back? I enjoy doing what we can to serve the community and really be out there, be involved. We've got a team that we are starting for the Alzheimer's Walk this fall. If you want to join, you can always join our team. You're welcome to walk with us. But we try to do as much as we can to make sure that we are involved in the community because that's what's important to us because we are our folks do this because of wanting to give back and the service that we can provide others.
Can you share a time when someone's kindness made a difference in your life?
Sharing a time when someone's kindness made a difference in my life. That's a pretty heavy one because I don't necessarily have a good answer for that because things that are kindness you see and just smiling as I walk down the hall, waving at me when I'm walking the dog. Sometimes those are just the simple acts of kindness that can make a change in everyone's life. And I think that's one of the things that are so important is to be connected and know sort of what's going on around you. I was on social media, I don't remember which platform last week, and someone was talking about how they were walking around somewhere, a trail around here, and nobody waved or said hello or anything and wanted to know if that was normal. And I thought to myself, well, some people probably have earbuds in and weren't paying attention to you. But then, there's also just a piece of that where's that connection? Where is that human connection that we all long for? And so I guess for me, what makes the biggest difference is just being kind all day, every day, and trying to do the right thing for the right reasons for the right people.
What's a cause or organization that's close to your heart and why?
So for me, I've got several. I have several dogs at my house. So, and they're all rescues, or two of them are rescues. And, I'm very, that's, helping animals is near and dear to my heart. It's something that I don't do as often as I'd like to do. Um, but then, of course, what we do for older adults is also very important to me. It's become something that I have been um, very dedicated to for the last 6 years. And whether that's Meals on Wheels, whether that is trying to work with other senior um, partners to help, to give back, to make sure that we're providing donations appropriately and keeping things out of the landfill. Those are all the things that we try to do, and try to support organizations across our community here in Winston-Salem. And then I can't leave out the Pretty in Pink Foundation, which we have supported in the past through Caring Transitions. But my grandmother passed away from breast cancer. And so, breast cancer organizations have always been important to me. And the Pretty in Pink Foundation does a lot for folks to get the care that they need. And that's what their mission is, and I think it's a great mission, and it's something that helps those that don't have insurance or whatever and need help with breast cancer and treatment. So those are the things that are near and dear to my heart.
If time and money weren't a factor, how would you serve your community?
If time and money wasn't a factor, how would I serve my community? Lee, that's a loaded question. And I don't know if that's one that I can really answer just off the hot seat here. But the if time and money weren't um, a factor, um, I'd probably spend a lot of my time doing the same things we do today. And whether that's doing more Meals on Wheels, whether that's volunteering at senior centers, whether that's, spending time with older adults, because connection, like I said, is so important. And for me, I think that's where, a lot of times what we do is so important. As people, I'm not even talking about Caring Transitions. I'm just talking about making sure that people stay connected, and I think those are the kinds of things that we have to remember, because loneliness isn't a feeling; it's a real growing issue among our older adults, and it impacts their mental, emotional, and physical health. And life changes, kids move away, friends and spouses pass on, and daily routines shift, and they can't do what they used to do exactly the way they used to do it, or as much as they used to do, and they start to feel disconnected. And we just got to keep folks connected, and I think that speaks for everyone, whether you're 100 or you're 50 or you're 25 or you're a newborn baby. Bottom line is everybody needs connection.
What are some small, everyday ways we can practice gratitude and give back?
Small ways to practice gratitude and give back. I think sometimes when I think about gratitude and think about having gratitude and how important that is, that's very important in my life. Because it's even the simple things. It's the fact that I have more than one pair of pink sunglasses, because we all know I'll lose them. I have to be grateful for that. And I know that's a simple, small thing, but the bottom line is being grateful reminds me that what I have is enough, and that I can give back because I have the things that I have. And so it doesn't matter whether you are wealthy or not, or how much time you have. Again, for me, it's about that connection, and ultimately about being able to do something and be kind. Just be kind. And gratitude helps you be humble. It gives you some humility so that you are able to see past your own needs and own wants, and be able to help others. And I think that's so important when we talk about gratitude and what it means to give back with gratitude.
Have you ever volunteered for a cause and had an unexpected or life-changing experience?
Lee, I'm going to stop letting you ask questions. I'm going to stop because she's asking me all these hard things. She's asking me questions about things that I hadn't even thought about. But have I ever volunteered somewhere and had a life changing experience? That's a hard one to come up with off the top of my head. But, I find that if I'm grateful, then I find that I am more, I see things in what I've done or what I'm doing for others that is makes life more, it's more life changing. Doing thing I think for me, what makes things more life changing is doing things without folks knowing that I did them, one, and doing things just out of the goodness of my heart and not expecting anything in return. And I'm not gonna lie, I have had problems with that in the past. I think people ought to say thank you and please, and but even if they don't, I can do things for people, and I have to, and just do it out of the goodness of my heart. And for me, that's been the life changing experience. Understanding that gratitude has made what I have enough, and allowed me to help others without needing or expecting anything, even a thank you in return.
What barriers keep people from getting involved in their communities, and how can we overcome them?
What barriers are involved and how can we overcome them? I think in getting involved, I think the biggest thing is time, and how much time it takes. We're all rushed. We all have so much to do, and a lot of times we're committed in our work and personal lives. And how can you give back? Well, it's been interesting this year. We made, as an organization, made a commitment to have work with Meals on Wheels. And at first I thought, okay, how are we going to juggle all this with everything we do within Caring Transitions and our moves and our downsizing and our this and that? And it was very simple. We put it on the schedule, and people, my folks, can choose to drive the route. And we have chosen at this point to have a route on a Thursday, and we're able to do that, and we work around it. And so I think sometimes we think, oh, I don't have time to do that, but we haven't investigated what it is that they're asking for. And so when I was talking to folks about doing something specifically about Meals on Wheels, I thought, oh, well, we can't do the same route every day. I mean, we can't commit 5 days a week, 30 days a month, or whatever to deliver lunches. But it wasn't like that. It was, let's work with you and we will find a place for you to fit. And I think that's where we have these misconceived notions about what it's going to mean to give back, to volunteer, to give our time. And sometimes it's not as much as you think it is, and or that your perception of it will be, and you can actually work it into your schedule. So I think that's where I would say people need to think through a little bit differently. Think about things differently.
What's one kind of what's one act of kindness you witnessed or received recently that inspired you?
One act of kindness that I have received recently or that I've seen recently. Um, I think I was in a meeting recently, and the gentleman knocked over his coffee. You don't think about that being a big deal, and yes, it's embarrassing and whatever. But there were a couple people that just stood up without fanfare, found a mop, found paper towels, and proceeded to clean it up without saying a word, without making a scene, without doing anything, and helped this gentleman clean up the coffee mess. It didn't make a interrupt our meeting. It didn't cause any kind of problems. And when they were done, they just sat back down and we continued on. And for me, that's something that we don't always think about. That was an act of kindness that, while small, again, small, we focused on a lot of small things today, but that was an act of kindness that I witnessed, that I went, you can do things like that without making a big to do about it. Nobody stood up and went, oh, it's on me, or I got splashed, or, whatever. They just got up, cleaned it up, and moved on. And it was a great, it was just inspiring to me to think about and think through that and make that sort of connection. That's really what gratitude does for you. It makes you thankful for what you have, and you're able to help others without any issues.
How can businesses and organizations better support community involvement?
When we're talking about businesses and organizations supporting community involvement, I think you make it accessible to your staff. And we have here at Caring Transitions of Winston-Salem, we have a goal of 50 hours a quarter of volunteer work. So we have our Meals on Wheels, we have our a couple of other things community-wise that we do. But then I encourage my staff, if they're volunteering outside on their own, to submit those hours as a testament to what we're doing for our community, and how we're working to make sure our community is a better place, and giving them those opportunities to sort of say, well, I volunteer at the Humane Society, or I volunteer at church, or whatever they're doing in the community, and we can recognize that with the number of hours. And it also fosters that sense of conversation when we talk about it at our monthly staff meetings as well. We talk about what everybody's doing volunteer wise out of work, and I think that's one of the best things that companies and small businesses can do as well.
Okay, Julie, here's your last question.
Oh, the last one.
For those who want to start giving back but don't know how, what's one simple way to begin?
Pick up the phone and call somebody. I think that's the simplest way you can begin giving back, and getting involved in your community. Like I said, when we thought that there were barriers around getting involved with our with doing a route on Meals on Wheels. And for us, it ended up being much simpler than I ever anticipated it being. And I had been talking about it for months. We need to do this. We need to do this. But I never made a phone call. And so then finally, one of my staff members made the phone call and found out what we could do and how to do it. And we were on the schedule the next month. So sometimes it's just about making the phone call, and sometimes it's not about what you find online. Sometimes it's just picking up the phone. I mean, that's as easy as I can tell you. I mean, obviously, going online and searching and, being Google dangerous is always good, but, sometimes it's just pick up the phone. So, I really appreciate everybody being on today, and if there's no more questions, I don't see any more coming in. And Lee said that was the last one she had thought up, which is great because hers were hard today. And anyway, I appreciate it. We'll be here next month with me on the hot seat again, and I look forward to seeing you guys then. So thanks so much. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.